Colorado. I was going to a heritage high school when I was in school in Littleton, Colorado. And there were like 2,000 kids in that school of heritage. It was brand new. My dad was in the Army, so we traveled a lot. But out of those 2,000 kids, there were probably 2 black people in that school. It was my sister and me, and that was it. So at Heritage High School, of course, what do? I dressed like the white people because that's the environment that we had. My mom on TV, she saw, and she's Italian, barely spoke English when we were going to school, but she put a part in my hair and my brother's hair because she saw on TV there were a lot of white guys with parts in their hair. So she figured, hey, you know, put a part in my son's hair. And that's how we grew up. We had parts in our hair. But it wasn't anything that was derogatory. It's just that's what she learned. And so we grew up with parts in our hair. And I don't know the origin of parts, but you know, y'all can look it up. But we had to go from Heritage High School, and then in the middle of the school year, we moved to Alexandria, Virginia. And in Alexandria, we had to go to a school called T.C. Williams High School. They made our movie called Remember the Titans. I don't know if y'all ever seen it. So when I played running back for Coach Boone, no, not really, I was on the bench, but I did. I did play for Coach Boone. They like, James, which character are you in Remember the Titans? I'm like, you can't see me, I'm on the bench, man. They don't even show the bench, man. But Coach Boone, boy, that was a crazy dude. But anyway, so we moved from Heritage High School in Littleton, Colorado to Alexandria, Virginia. And I'll never forget, if you can picture a window, I'm looking out the window, and it was the middle of the day, and here comes 2 yellow buses. And on those 2 yellow buses were nothing but black kids. So I'm looking out the window and I'm saying, holy cow. I'm like, Mama, look at all them black kids. It's like, how in the world can you be afraid of your own race? But let's think about it. Here I am in Heritage High School watching TV. And back in the day, and the TV is powerful, the media is powerful. Back in the day, all we learned about black people was what? They were murderers, rapists, and drug addicts. So when I saw a whole bunch of them together, I was scared to death. But that's how it is. That's how we're trained if we're watching TV. And still today, people are afraid when you get a whole bunch of people together and we don't know anything about those folks. But now it's time for me to go to school, my first day at T.C. Williams High School. And my first day, we couldn't go and buy new clothes. That's just not what we did. You know, there's 5 in the family plus mom and dad, so 7 altogether. And we didn't fly wherever we were going, we always drove. You know, they got 7 people in an LTD. Man, it was tight. He couldn't stop at hotels back in the day. It's early 60s, 70s. He couldn't stop at hotels. Number 1, we had money. Number 2, we probably couldn't get in. All right, so we had to drive. We're at rest stops. Y'all know sometimes you stop at those rest stops, and he's got to take a nap, my dad. I'm like, come on, man, we got to stay in the car for real while you take a nap? We couldn't even move. That dude, I mean, anyway, that's a whole nother story. Y'all bringing back memories. But I had to go to school now, so we had the same clothes on. And so I remember that, you know, I came in, I had these tight silk shirt on with glow-in-the-dark flowers on it. And I had this tight silk shirt or pants on with flowers that were glowing on the pockets and stuff. And y'all remember those big platform shoes? You probably wear them today, you know? So here I am, but the only way that I really learned how to be black was through a TV show that I used to watch called Starsky and Hutch. I know. There was one black guy on there. It was Huggy Bear. And Huggy Bear was a pimp. But we ain't correlated, we ain't understand. We just know, hey, there's Huggy Bears on Starsky and Hutch. So when I'm going to school, that's what I'm thinking about. I saw the buses, I'm like, okay, I got my clothes on, and you know, this is how I normally walk, that's like this. But I'm thinking, okay, I saw the buses, and I'm thinking Huggy Bear. So I walk into T.C. Williams with all that stuff, and I'm walking like this. They said, if this isn't the biggest clown that they've seen in the world. And I'm like, I had to get a lesson on fashion from one of my boys. Matter of fact, he was the printer of my book, Vernon Adams. Went to school with him, and he's the one who told me, James, if you're gonna wear these black pants, you know, these black platform shoes, he said, man, and they were high waters, like, you know, they were up. And it's in style now, but he said, don't wear those white socks like that, man. Put some black socks on. So I did. I got some fashion expertise from Vernon Adams, but that's the whole thing. So here it is. So what did we learn from that? You know, we look back and we talk about it, is what did we learn? It's like in America, we have pockets of people that live in cities and towns. And in these pockets, they could be majority white, majority Hispanic, majority Asian, whatever it is. And it's not really that these folks are racist. It's that they don't know. So how do we really get the things, we're talking about it again, that we want out of life? We build new relationships so we can talk about stuff. Folks always say, well, I want a colorblind society. No, you don't. I want to see your color. That's a conversation. It's like, where are you from? That's a question that's so hard for some people to ask. Look, where are you from? Because that elicits a conversation. It's not just that they're from Brooklyn. It's not just, hey, I'm from Brooklyn. No, I'm from Brooklyn, but my dad's from Michigan, and his family is Irish, and they came over on a boat, and then they stopped in Montana, and that's how we got the farm. Dude, I ain't asked you all of that, but okay. All right, but people tell you about themselves, and that's really where we go into the listening mode. See, we don't do enough of that. If we listen to what they talk about, and then in our minds we begin to form an idea on how we can help that person solve a particular issue, they will love you to death. So if you look at the job and you're on the job and you have people that is stopping your growth, we've got to ask different questions to bring up new answers so that we can figure out where can we help them. They have issues, don't they? Some people on your job, they have issues. And we talk about, well, we need to communicate better. No, it's not all about communication. It's about learning who people are. And then once we have that one-on-one conversation, if you're trying to sell whatever it is that you sell, and I know most of you are in the service industry. In the service industry, we sell stuff. And the first thing you've got to sell is yourself. But we also have to think about, we have to come outside of our own comfort zone because we have to ask new questions in order to get better responses. And if we don't ask new questions, then we can't get the new responses and we stay in the same rut that we're in. And all we're doing is talking about people. I'm pissed off because they said I can't do this. And if you just talk to Henry and Valencia, they'll tell you, yes, they'll tell you you can't do this, but when it's time for you to do something, you better be ready. And if you're not ready, then shame on you. So when you come to these conferences, and this is what Dolores was talking about also, is she comes to this conference because she learns a lot of stuff. And I'm like, you've been a deputy chief, you're running policy, you learn stuff from the PAWC conference. She's like, this is one of the best conferences I go to because I learned so much. And when you learn it, your mind has to be open to receive it. So now you've got more ammunition in your head from the stuff that you learned from this conference. But if you leave without even meeting new people and building new relationships, you've wasted your time. And I talk to a lot of people and they go through, colleges, they have these degrees, these PhDs, these masters, whatever they have. And most of them, they couldn't hold a conversation if you really taught them to. So it's not really about the education that you have, it's the people that you know and how you can help them. The education that you have puts a stamp on something. This is what I've done. You can't take that away from me. But okay, now that you've done it, who do you know and who knows you? Because somewhere along the line, I'm not going to like what I'm doing right here, and I want to move to a different place. And I want to do a different job. Because I think I can do better. Because when we come outside of our zone of comfort, what happens is we become more creative. We're not doing the same routine, we become more creative. I listen to a lot of R&B when I'm traveling, and I've started listening to a lot of country. Do you think I like country? I kind of do. I kind of do, but it's different. And the thing is, we listen to news. If you change the station to something new, you get different news. And so they're talking about different stuff. And in your mind, it's like you're growing. But I have to physically say, where's the country station? Otherwise, it's going to be left on the R&B. But I've got to make a move. But we become more creative when we start the process of coming outside of our zone of comfort. Do you know we lose 40% of our creativity at the age of 5 years old? How in the heck do we lose our creativity at the age of 5 years old? We go to school. By the time we go through kindergarten, elementary school, high school, some form of higher education, whether it's formal or informal, we take between 2,000 and 2,500 tests in which we are instructed to come up with the correct answer. We're being structured at 5 years old. Kindergarten teacher says, come on in, y'all. Take out your coloring books, take out your crayons, and I want you to color within the lines. If you color outside the lines, you're going in detention. Because the structure is what they want. Don't get me wrong, structure is good, and everybody knows on your job and everywhere else, even at home, there's structure there. You have to understand what the structure is. In most cases, when we talk to our young people, they have to know what school is about. School is about memory power. The teacher says, I'm going to give you a quiz on chapter 2. What do? We memorize the heck out of chapter 2. We're going to give you a quiz in geometry. We memorize formulas. It's all about memorization. My daughter was great at memorization.